Without you, I'm as cold inside as the dark side of the moon.
When you're not there, my only prayer is to pray you're home and soon.
'Cause every time the phone rings, I think the worst and best things.
I'd give all I have to have you here with me.
But you're still among the missing, and I'm still missing you. And I swear I'm gonna find you if it's the last thing that I do.
Oh, tomorrow I may hold you, tomorrow I may not, but God won't take that dream away. It's the only one I've got.
Hello, my name is John Walsh. In 1981, my 6-year-old son Adam was abducted while shopping with his mother. The weeks that he was missing were the worst of my life. The pain and devastation we faced as parents were unbearable. Consequently, my wife Reve and I became advocates for children, getting laws passed, helping to establish the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and training professionals such as yourselves.
Yes, I want to report my missing child. My child is missing. He was supposed to be here an hour ago and he never came from school.
1590, go ahead.
1590, respond to 103073 Side Drive, reference to missing person.
The call of a missing child comes in. This is how it begins. A radio call to a patrol officer. In one recent year, there were close to 1 million reports of missing or abducted children in the United States. Sometime during your career as a police officer, you may be called upon to investigate a report of a missing child. This video will assist you in the step-by-step process of how to handle such a call. We'll suggest a checklist for you to follow from the initial call through the investigation and hopefully to the ultimate conclusion of finding the missing child. This video will explore the major types of missing child cases. These include the runaway or voluntary missing, the endangered, lost, or injured child, the family abduction, usually arising from custody disputes or revenge against a former spouse, the non-family abduction, kidnapping, predatory abduction. This video will be structured in 3 sections: the roles of law enforcement personnel in case investigations, the investigation considerations for the different types of missing child cases, and finally, the roles other agencies play in investigating missing child cases. You should refer to your agency's rules, regulations, and procedures for missing child investigations. The first thing the officer should do is verify that the child is in fact missing. To begin this process, secure and make a note of parental permission to search the house or building where the incident took place. Always keep an open mind as to what might have happened to the child. Please avoid jumping to conclusions prematurely.
Is it short?
Determine the when, where, who, why, and what regarding the missing child. When was he or she last seen? Where was the child last seen? Who was the last person to see the missing child? Why is the child missing? Has he or she previously been reported as a missing child? What did they take with him or her? What else is missing? Interview individuals who had last contact with the child.
Honey, did you find him?
At this point, you should make an initial determination of the type of incident, noting whether it is a non-family abduction, family abduction, or runaway, or possibly an endangered, lost, or injured missing child. In all cases, let the facts of the investigation dictate your actions.
I'm going to let my sergeant know what's going on. In reference to a 12-year-old missing boy No previous contacts.
Request additional personnel and supervisory assistance if necessary in critical cases where the circumstances seem unusual, especially if the disappearance is of a suspicious or dangerous nature or there have been no prior missing child reports on this child.
Do you have a recent photo of him?
This is the last picture. He just got this in school.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Put out a bolo for a Hispanic male, 12 years
Give the
old.
dispatcher a detailed description of the child along with any other pertinent information. Agencies should broadcast an immediate alert on all police communication channels to all other patrol units, providing as much information about the child and the circumstances of the disappearance as possible.
All right, ma'am, or sir, either one. I need an NCIC authorization. And what NCIC is, it's National Crime Information Center. And with your signature, I'll be able to enter all of this information about your son into the computer, and then it'll go nationwide through all 50 states. So if he gets picked up somewhere, let's say in Ohio, they'll call us and let us know that they found him.
Oh, that's good.
Okay?
Yeah.
So if you could, please, I just need your signature right here in this block.
Okay, thank you.
As the investigating officer, you'll have to bring all responding personnel up to date, including supervisors and detectives.
And he weighs about 100, 110 pounds. No distinguishing scars or marks. When he left for school this morning, he had on jeans.
Well, Joe, why don't you take two houses that way and Sharon take this way?
Identify the child's safety zone. That is, a place the child is familiar with and can access help. This area may vary in size according to the child's age, maturity level, and geographical boundaries regarding their yard, street, or neighborhood.
Just me again, Miss Cardenas. This is my sergeant.
Make sure that when you conduct your search, you look at all areas where there is a potential for concealment. For example, crawl spaces, closets, attics, abandoned refrigerators, sheds, storm drains, car trunks, etc. You may wish to consider using a bloodhound if one is available. They've proved very effective in many cases. Keep your communications center up to date on all appropriate developments. Make sure that everyone at the scene is identified and interviewed separately, and that all of that information is recorded. Note name, address, home, and business telephone number of each person. Determine each person's relationship to the missing child. Note information that each person may have about the child's disappearance. Determine when and where each person last saw the child. Ask each one, what do you think happened to the child? Obtain names, addresses, and telephone numbers of the child's friends and associates, other relatives, and friends of the family. Compile a list of known sex offenders to determine if there are any predators that live or work in the neighborhood. Enter the child immediately into the National Crime Information Center or NCIC Missing Persons file. In many of these cases, you could encounter a highly emotional situation involving the parents, relatives, or friends. Despite this, it's extremely important that you treat the area as a crime scene. In suspicious cases, you should seal and protect the scene and area of the child's home or where they were last seen. Some recent high-profile cases have been confounded when this practice was not followed. Collect as many of his or her personal items, such as hairbrushes, diaries, photographs, and anything that may contain the child's fingerprints, footprints, DNA, or teeth impressions. Evaluate the contents and appearance of the child's room. See if anything is missing, like a backpack, clothing, money, favorite stuffed animal. In homes where there is a personal computer with email or internet capability, consider securing the computer for further investigation by your department, state police, FBI, or postal authority.
You don't mind if I hold on to this photograph?
Obtain any recent photographs or videotapes of the missing child. In cases where there may be an abductor involved and this person is known, get photographs of that person.
And don't worry, we'll do everything we can to find your son for you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Remain alert for other critical factors, such as, is the child 13 years of age or younger and outside his or her zone of safety? Was the child ever a subject of a child abuse or neglect report? The missing child may be mentally incapacitated or drug dependent including prescribed medication, in which case the lack of medication may be life-threatening. Other situations that would require an immediate response could include a child in the company of adults that could endanger his or her welfare, or a child whose absence is inconsistent with his or her established patterns of behavior, and the deviation cannot be readily explained. You are looking for any child that's in an at-risk situation. You might request assistance from the fire department, the National Guard, the FBI, state police, or surrounding jurisdictions. The important thing is to ensure that there is an immediate and adequate response to handle the situation. Time is critical. In a recent Washington State's attorney's study of child homicide, 74% of the abducted children who are murdered are dead within 3 hours of the abduction. The initial approach can determine whether the child is returned home safely, is missing for an extended time, is found deceased, or never located. The points we have just covered detail the responsibilities of the initial responding patrol officer. Let's take a look at the role of the investigating officer or detective.
Hey, Joe. Hey. Can I talk to you a minute about that lost child you had? Sure. How you been? Good. How are you? Doing all right. Listen, I understand.
One of the first things you'll need to do is to read the initial responding officer's report carefully. Then meet with him or her to discuss the case. The initial responder can give you vital information that you'll need to conduct your investigation. Now remember, we're dealing with a missing child at this point. You'll need to verify the accuracy of all of the initial information along with other details developed during the preliminary investigation.
This is the first time that ever happened.
Okay. Have you had any problems with him in school?
No.
You'll want to backtrack and investigate the reasons for any conflicting information provided by witnesses or suspects.
No problems. Hi, Chris. How are you? This is the evidence on the Juan Porto case.
Take a good close look at all of the evidence collected and develop an investigative plan for follow-up. Now, we've looked at the role of the first responding officer and the investigative detective. So now let's learn about the role the supervisor has in this investigation.
Morning, Lieutenant.
Morning.
Hi, Lieutenant. I want to brief you on the status of this case here.
Is this the
missing child
entire case file?
Yes.
As the supervisor overseeing this investigation, you should start out by being briefed on the status of the case. You'll want to determine if additional personnel are needed to assist in the investigation. You'll have to determine if outside help is necessary. This help could come in the form of assistance from other agencies, such as the state police, the FBI, groups such as the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children's Project Alert, and other organizations like Victim Witnesses Services for the Family.
Yeah, hi, this is the lieutenant. I just want to let you know our initial search has not turned up that missing 12-year-old that we have in Cockeysville. Yeah, we're going to have to call out the mobile command post if you could page the operator.
Arcades and things.
If you're involved in a search for a missing child and the situation warrants a command post, it should be set up away from the child's home. It's also very important to utilize the media. Make sure a designated spokesperson handles all media involvement. In several jurisdictions, a cooperative effort known as the Amber Plan has been established with local media. Simply put, the Amber Plan is an emergency broadcast system designed to alert a community when a child has been abducted, instantly adding thousands to the search party. The police will alert the media, who are then expected to stop broadcasts and relay the information, just as they would to warn the public of a tornado. A TIPS hotline will then take calls from the community. In a recent case in Texas, using the Amber Plan, the abductor heard the description of his vehicle on the radio, pulled over, and let the child out to avoid apprehension. The child was returned safe and unharmed. Now, we've looked at the duties of law enforcement from the first responding officer through the roles of the detective and the supervisor in the missing child case.